Thank God you are a politics understander, because otherwise your music taste would lead you to be Israeli. Oh no. Oh no. That's crazy. Why are you going to hit me with that? How are you going to hit me with that? It's fucked up. Spiritually Israeli music taste is the most aggro.
Anguish.
It's the worst thing I've ever gotten called from this chat, dude. That's fucked up. Anyway, all right, let's get into it. So, the two National Guard's members, one was a woman, the other one was a man, were shot a couple days ago in Washington, D.C., near the White House by an Afghan national who was, as we found out yesterday, a member of a CIA death squad in Afghanistan, and was properly vetted on numerous occasions, and came to the United States of America in 2021 with a bunch of other collaborators of the American occupation in Afghanistan. So, one of the two members of the National Guard that got shot succumbed to her wounds yesterday, and Donald Trump announced the death of the National Guardsman Sarah Beckstrom like this.
And the horror of our entire nation at the terrorist attack yesterday in our nation's capital, in which a savage monster gunned down two service members in the West Virginia National Guard who were deployed as part of the D.C. task force, which has done such an incredible job. I mean, until yesterday, we literally had no incidents for many months. It was the safest place imaginable, and this is a different kind of crime. This is a really bad crime. Millions of Americans are praying for those heroes and their families, and I must unfortunately tell you that just seconds before I went on, right now, I heard that Sarah Beckstrom of West Virginia, one of the guardsmen that we're talking about, highly respected, young.
Dude, why is Trump also getting that same audio bug that CNN has? What the fuck is going on?
Magnificent person. Started service in June of 2023. Outstanding in every way. She's just passed away. She's no longer with us. She's looking down at us right now. Her parents are with her. It's just happened. She was savagely attacked. She's dead. She's not with us. Incredible person. Outstanding in every single way, in every department. Just horrible. As you know, the other young man is fighting for his life. He's in very bad shape. He's fighting for his life, and hopefully we'll get better news with respect to him.
Some liberals thought Trump was behind this attack to boost his support. Yeah, it's just not going to work, though. I don't think this is going to have a rallying around the flag effect. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's just not. And yeah, he's definitely cooked. No matter what he does, and I don't think he's going to. I don't think he's going to work through the motions in an instance like this, in the way that like a competent governor would. Right? He's Trump. So, of course, he's going to do Trump shit. And the entire reason why people are upset at him is because he's been doing too much Trump shit. He's been molesting the money too much, for example. Right? So, Trump only has one speed, which is do more Trump shit. So, people are going to get mad. Some are going to get mad at him for, aggressively stamping out like visas and things of that nature. Other people are going to continue getting mad at him because he's not doing anything to solve the affordability crisis that he won an election on promising to solve. And things are only going to get worse.
And the monster that did this is also in serious condition. But we won't even talk about him. As you may know, DHS has confirmed that the suspect is an Afghan national flown here by the previous administration, who was such a bad administration.
Overnight, the brazen ambush of two National Guard members.
Yeah, it's his disapproval is even worse, I think, than Brandon's. Biden in November 2021, his approval was 42%. His disapproval was 55%. Biden in November 2024, his approval was 37%. His disapproval was 58%. New Gallup poll on how Americans rate Trump's performance as president is now lower than that. 60% disapproval, 36% approval. 36% was Biden's all-time worst approval in Gallup. His disapproval was still 2 points better, and that came in July 24th right after he tanked the debate and was being pushed out of the race. Trump is now less popular than Brandon was at his lowest. As in, when Americans, after experiencing 1.5 years of negative real wage growth, finally came to the fucking conclusion that Biden's brain was leaking out of his ears, and they were like, enough is enough. What the fuck are we doing here? That level of disapproval, and Trump is worse than that. This is not a coalition that can stand, okay? This is not a coalition that can stand. It's so over. Trump sees that. He knows that. No matter how many sycophantic losers are surrounding him, constantly telling him shit is actually sweet, Mr. President. People love you. This is, George W. Bush leaving office numbers with independents and Democrats, okay? And the Republican voters are the only thing that is keeping his approval rating at the level that it's at. Do you approve or disapprove of the way that Donald Trump is handling his job as president? We have to realize that some of these people are basically in a fucking cult, okay? Many of these people are basically in a fucking cult where they're just like, nope. It's just no matter what he does, I still love him. This is reminiscent of the last Trump tenure, okay? The last Trump term, he barely got below 80%. He barely got below 90%. And I don't think ever got below 80% in terms of approval from the Republicans, okay? But fear not, because this doesn't actually mean that he has a tremendous amount of approval overall, okay? Because self-identifying Republicans saying that Donald Trump is great doesn't necessarily mean anything when there's not enough self-identifying Republicans out there, okay? They make up a tiny fraction of American society. But on the independent side, he's at 25%, and on the Democrat side, obviously, he's at 3%, okay? How many dislike it because he's not awful enough? A very, very small number. That's an irrelevant number of people.
And President Trump has responded to this attack by ordering what he calls a re-examination of all Afghans who came to the U.S. after the withdrawal of American forces from that country. It's unclear how that would work logistically. Also, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services now announcing they are halting the processing of all immigration requests for all Afghans indefinitely. Rebecca.
All right, Jay, thank you.
President Trump says he's ready to expel anyone who is, quote, not a net asset to the United States. And he's also threatening to end immigration from what he describes as third world nations. Our Nancy Cordes is in West Palm Beach, Florida, and joins us now this morning. Nancy, what specifically is the president speaking about?
Good morning, Errol. This would be a dramatic new step by the president, cutting off migration from an unknown number of countries that he deems third world. We have asked the White House for more.
Yeah, we got to get more racist, I think. You see, just as the traffic density problem can be solved if we just built another fucking lane, the American issue is we just haven't been racist enough. Right? If only we were just a little bit more locked in on the racism, just one more level in the white supremacy spectrum, and we'll fucking fix it. All of this, everything will be well. We just haven't tried. Real capitalism hasn't been tried yet. Real communism hasn't been tried yet. And also real racism hasn't been tried yet. That's just one more dial on the racism meter. Just a little bit more racism, and all of the rent problem and all of the affordability problems will fucking go away, dude. These are the same motherfuckers that go, the left is calling us Nazis to kill us, and they start saying and doing Nazi shit law. Yeah, I mean, the entire point of that is to stop dissent. And it's an abject failure because obviously in the United States of America, free speech is one of the only things that we have. So obviously, whenever you try to take that away, Americans are going to be like, fuck no. Fuck no. They're going to say, get the hell out of here. Of course, I'm going to keep saying whatever the fuck I want to say. Because that is just a way, that is an ineffective way that the Republicans try to silence dissent. Okay? That's it. In any case, here's the long ass effort post from this dipshit. A very happy Thanksgiving salutation to all our great citizens and patriots who have been so nice in allowing our country to be divided, disruptive, carved up, murdered, beaten, mugged, and laughed at, along with certain other. This is Stephen Miller. 100% Stephen Miller wrote this. Okay. I can see from like the first couple of sentences, this is a Stephen Miller exclusive. Okay. Because it is identical. It is identical to something you would hear from Goebbels or something you would hear from Hitler. You know, it's just straight up carved up, murdered, beaten, mugged, and laughed at, along with certain other foolish countries throughout the world for being politically correct. And it's just plain stupid when it comes to immigration. The official United States foreign population stands at 53 million people, in parentheses census, most of which are on welfare from failed nations or from prisons, mental institutions, gangs, or drug cartels. Yeah. No, totally. That's what's going on here. You're so right. It is all the foreign nationals that are on welfare. Yeah, certainly not like the fucking forgotten white people that are born and bred American that are on welfare. It's just the foreigners that are not doing anything for America except, you know, picking all the fucking crops and playing a incredibly important role in all of our agricultural output that makes sure that Americans are well fed without taking a dime out of that fucking welfare structure anyway. It's so dumb. It's so stupid. It's just so wrong. Yeah. Melania is part of them. Obviously, so is JD Vance's wife as well, by the way. Yeah. They and their children are supported through massive payments from patriotic American citizens who, because of their beautiful hearts, do not want to openly complain or cause trouble in any way, shape, or form. They put up with what has happened to our country, but it's eating them alive to do so. A migrant earning $30,000 with a green card will roughly get $50,000 in yearly benefits for their family. The real migrant population is much higher. This refugee burden is the leading cause of social dysfunction in America, something that did not exist after World War II. Failed schools, high crime, urban decay, overcrowded hospitals, housing shortages, and large deficits, etc. As an example, hundreds of thousands of refugees from Somalia are completely taking over the once great state of Minnesota. It's ironic to also shift the focus over to Minnesota, where Minneapolis is unironically one of the few cities in the country that has actually improved the material conditions of the people that live in Minneapolis. But of course, there's a lot of Somali people there, right? So if you're a fucking racist dipshit from looking at it from afar, you go, oh, the demographics of Minneapolis are shifting. I hate that. Meanwhile, the people of Minneapolis are actually pretty fucking happy. So happy that they hated the incumbent mayor and still ended up voting for the incumbent mayor. Somalian gangs are roving the streets looking for prey as our wonderful people stay locked in their apartments and houses, hoping against hope that they will be left alone. The seriously R-worded governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, does nothing, either through fear, incompetence, or both, while the worst congressman woman in our country, Ilhan Omar, always wrapped in her swaddling hijab and who probably came into the USA illegally, in that you are not allowed to marry your brother, does nothing but hatefully complain about our country, its constitution, and how badly she's treated. This has 400,000 likes. I hate this shit, dude. Yeah. Happy Thanksgiving. Our president is Adolf Hitler. If Adolf Hitler was somehow even dumber than the original Adolf Hitler. Mostly bots. Breathe, brother. I know. It doesn't fucking matter. It's just still. It doesn't matter that it's mostly bots. Okay, what matters is the fucking president is saying this. It's just like sprinkle a little bit of racism. And in this instance, it's not even fucking a little bit of racism. He's just maxing out on it. Like, this is one step removed from just saying the N-word, okay? Saying that, like, black people have overtaken, while also referencing black people as you know, the N-word. In this country, they have roving gangs of thugs coming from Africa. Jesus fucking Christ, dude. It's literally one step removed. And for many Americans, I think they need to hear that to actually come to terms with how fucking racist this statement is. Somali people are the same as anybody else, okay? They have the same exact class interests. They're not coming into the United States of America to look for fucking prey. This is psychotic. Jesus Christ, dude. Why many word when they only wanted to say one? Yeah, they're literally saying they want him to be a fascist. I'm ready for President Trump to actually be a little more like the fascist dictator the Democrats lie about. Crush this invasion and color revolution with an iron fist, no mercy. Yeah. I mean, yeah, they're saying, I mean, they've been saying this. These guys are, I don't know why we're acting as though they're like now coming to terms, right? The post gets worse. Oh, Ilhan Omar. He continues on with Ilhan Omar, but hatefully complain about our country, constitution, and how badly she is treated when her place of origin is a decadent, backward, and crime-ridden nation, which is essentially not even a country for lack of government, military, police, schools, etc. Even as we have progressed technologically, immigration policies eroded those gains and living conditions for many. I will permanently pause migration from all third world countries to allow the U.S. system to fully recover, terminate all the millions of Biden illegal admissions, including those signed by Sleepy Joe Biden's auto pen, and remove anyone who is not a net asset to the United States or is incapable of loving our country, end all federal benefits and subsidies to non-citizens of our country, denaturalize migrants who undermine domestic tranquility, and deport any foreign national who is a public charge, security risk, or non-compatible with Western civilization. What the fuck does this mean? These goals will be pursued with the aim of achieving a major reduction in illegal and disruptive populations, including those admitted through an unauthorized and illegal auto pen approval process. Only reverse migration can fully cure the situation. Other than that, happy Thanksgiving to all, except those that hate, steal, murder, and destroy everything that America stands for. You won't be here for long. Yeah, this is a Stephen Miller rant, 100%. Donald Trump is not capable of crafting this many words together. And also, you can see the fucking anger and resentment. Remigration is obviously a European fascist concept, by the way. Yeah, is a far-right concept originally from Europe of ethnic cleansing via the mass deportation. Remigration is it was utilized by the AfD in Germany, or is being utilized by the AfD in Germany. It just means like remigration is just deportation. It's just a European way of saying deportation. Oh, I think you're cooked. Me? Why? I'm a fucking American citizen. You can suck my dick if you think I'm getting deported out of this country. Yeah. By the time, as I've said over and over again, by the time it gets to someone like myself being denaturalized, it's over for America has shifted so dramatically. I'm not saying that it's not. I'm not saying that that's not like a ambition from this administration, but if they're coming after like a rich Twitch streamer with a massive fan base who is an American citizen, born American, natural born U.S. citizen, that means they've gone over so many more vulnerable populations at this point. Because I'm not a naturalized citizen. I'm a natural born U.S. citizen.
President Donald Trump says the United States will strike inside Venezuela. Quote,
oh, great. Right after blowback, right after blowback in Afghanistan, let's go immediately. Let's dive headfirst into another one of these endless quagmires. Okay, seems good to me. Just one more, guys. Come on. This time it'll be so different. This time it will be so different. There will be no blowback whatsoever off of this one. Millions dead, tens of millions displaced. It'll be fine. It'll be good. Just let me at it. Let me get one more.
Very soon. He made the statement while speaking to members of the U.S. military on a Thanksgiving phone call. Have a listen.
And in recent weeks, you've been working to deter Venezuelan drug traffickers, of which there are many. Of course, there aren't too many coming in by sea anymore. Have you probably noticed that? We'll be starting to...
Yeah, it's because Venezuela is very far. I don't know if you know this, but Venezuela is pretty fucking far to be coming in by sea and is not a narco trafficking hub anyway. Not because you started lasering random fucking boats off of the coastline.
Stop them by land also. The land is easier, but that's going to start very soon. We warn them. Stop sending poison to our country.
The US has killed more than 80 people in strikes on alleged drug trafficking boats in the Caribbean. The administration has offered no proof that the vessels were actually carrying drugs. Alejandro Velasco is a historian and associate professor at NYU. He's joining us from Amherst, Massachusetts. Thank you so much for being here. How are you doing?
Good. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. Let's get into this. President Trump says the US is preparing to stop Venezuelan drug traffickers by land very soon. How seriously should we be taking this language? And what does it signal about a possible shift in strategy?
That's a great question. The reality is that over the past 2 weeks, what we've seen is very contradictory discourse coming out of the White House and, in fact, other members of the administration. We have some hawkish elements every day seeming to either leak or directly state that they seek greater intervention in Venezuela directly. And of course, we just had the recent naming designation of the so-called Cartel de los Soles as another escalation into that end. On the other hand, Trump has also said that he's not really interested in necessarily in intervention. He wants to talk with Maduro. Maybe there's room for negotiation. So, right now, this all seems like a part of a larger psychological operations game or warfare to see if Maduro breaks.
The US now has more than a dozen warships and 15,000 troops in the region. How unusual is this level of force around Venezuela, and what message is Washington trying to send?
It's unprecedented is what it is. Certainly it's the largest deployment outside of...
I'm having leftovers, bodek, that my grandma made, pastrma. Is bomb.
And military exercises in the 21st century. And even in the 20th century, it was an unusual deployment for this part of the region. I think what it says, obviously, is that the United States is prepared to intervene. The real question is whether the person who has ultimate say in whether that happens, which is President Trump, has in fact agreed to do so. But he's positioned to be there, and to some extent, the fact that there is this massive deployment commits some kind of intervention, because without something changing in Venezuela, this might actually be seen as a victory.
Do you ever go to Carousel in Hollywood or Glendale? Yes, I love Carousel. This is literally from Carousel. This is their garlic sauce. And this is their, I forget what this is, but it's also from Carousel. Goated Armenian food.
For the Maduro government.
Well, while we're talking about things changing in Venezuela, the administration here has just designated Maduro and his allies as members of a foreign terrorist organization. What does that actually mean?
Yeah, I fuck with Zanku too.
It basically gives the administration more legal leeway to take actions that might not otherwise be permissible in a context of war or pre-war, if you want to call it that. It means that it has a greater arsenal and repertoire of action and engagement for people that it considers or designates to be part of this cartel. It also means that it doesn't have to provide nearly as much information, either certainly to Congress, which it already hasn't provided enough information, but to the judicial system. And so it allows for a greater range of action than has been the case.
Ryan Grimm has a good take. The idea that we should freeze all migration because of one of CIA's death squad recruits went on a rampage is absurd. Smarter would be to stop training death squads. Yeah. Oh, well.
We've almost stopped. It's about 85% stopped by sea. You probably noticed that. People aren't wanting to be delivering by sea.
Yeah, it was 0% before, and it's still 0% now. We just killed a bunch of people in the process. Fucking can't argue with that, you know?
And we'll be starting to stop them by land also. The land is easier, but that's going to start very soon. We warned them, stop sending poison to our country.
I hate this fucking...
Thousands of U.S. troops and more than a dozen warships are in the Caribbean, in the waters off Venezuela. You were seeing the strikes, some of those strikes that have happened in the waters off of Venezuela. They've been carrying out those deadly strikes for weeks now. Joining me now, CNN senior military analyst and former NATO Supreme Allied Commander Admiral James Stavridis. Thank you so much for being here this morning. All right, President Trump is saying that he will soon stop the Venezuelan drug trafficking by land. Do you read that to mean he's talking about troops on the ground? I mean, what else could it mean?
You eat a lot. I'm a big boy.
I think it sounds like boots on the ground. I was just reading an email I got from a Vietnam War veteran who said the four most frightening words he can imagine a president saying are, "The land is easier," meaning once you start putting boots on the ground, it gets a lot harder than dropping bombs from the air or launching missiles from the sea. And I know that, having launched a lot of missiles from the sea. The danger is when you put troops ashore. So what's the president talking about? I don't know. I hope it would be very limited kind of incursions, perhaps against drug labs, maybe going after some leadership targets. I could sketch those out in greater depth, Sarah. But frankly, we need to be very cautious about anything that involves putting U.S. boots on the ground in Venezuela. I hope that Congress gets involved with this. Final thought, sometimes people look back to the 1980s.
What an insane, like, it's a non-starter. Someone has to die, right? I love that the guy who's like against Donald Trump here is still on board in principle with like the executions of at least some Venezuelans. He's like, yeah, just lob missiles from afar, you fucking idiot. Kill a bunch of people. Don't worry. We should do that. I've done it. You know, I love doing it. It's just, don't send the brave boys and girls to engage in a land invasion of Venezuela. I like that that's the anti-war position here. That's the centrist. The centrist position is like, hey, please, like someone has to die. You know, some Venezuelans are going to die. Right?